If Jesus came and died for God, me and you that we are engrafted in him, we must do likewise. And I'm talking to you about the spirit of revival. We herald the church. The move of the church was upon the spirit of revival. But this spirit of revival is actually the spirit that rests upon Matthias. When that spirit come upon you, those things you are afraid of, they will now begin to be afraid of you. Long before that time, they were afraid. Are you part of them? You say, no. Are you part of them? No. In fact, I don't even know them. A cock, you are part of them. The men cannot discern. The cock is trying to tell them that he's part of them. Just kill this young man too. And he found a way and he ran away. But in the days the Holy Ghost came upon him, he was able to stand. And he said, well, men and women, brethren, we are not done with wine as you suppose. This is the prophecy of Joel. Suddenly now he can be able to have utterance in that day. Because in the days of revival, men are willing to die. And the same question I ask you, are you really willing to die for this thing you believe? It was Martin Luther King Jr. that said, this is not an idea that we believe. It's an ideal that we believe, but if it means for us to die, we are willing to die for it. I always say, we are not called to die for Jesus. But if our living is threatened by our death, we are willing to die. And let me tell you, in the days when an archbishop ran away in the days of adversity, the small boy that is willing to stand and defend the cause of the gospel, that one become a mighty man. Joab became mighty. Why? Because he stood his ground. In the days of war, few of us that advanced are the ones that were coronated. Many people were running away from the battles in their families. Others chased the battle and they were decorated generals. And when they conquered the battle, they became the leaders of the family. In the days of revival, you are empowered with the seven spirit of the Lord. And when that spirit come upon you, there is no way that you'll be here, you'll be afraid. There is a witch in your family. There is a pattern in your family. There is a curse in your family. My friends, we all have curses. We all have patterns. How comes that we are still relevant with those patterns? You think Bishop David doesn't have patterns? Is that what you're thinking? You think he doesn't have curses in the family? There are people in the family that are not yet born again. Everybody once upon a time, I'm telling you, there is a curse upon their life. They broke it. If you become serious with your life, it will break. Because God has empowered everybody with a tool for warfare. I will never send you without a weapon. Everybody is sent with a weapon. You are not born disadvantaged. You came with an advantage. It doesn't matter whether you are blind. It doesn't matter whether you are crippled. It doesn't matter whether there is an infirmity upon you. There is an advantage. All you need to do is remain within the crucible of the altar and break through it and find it. When you find it, you will realize that that disadvantage is actually the tool for revival. I told you about the Azusa Street revival. William J. Salmon, his eyes was blind. In fact, Smith Wigglesworth cannot read the Bible. Do you realize that? Doesn't have to read the Bible. It was his daughter that used to interpret the Bible for him. And yet again, look at the spirit of faith upon that man. Your own problem, I don't understand Bible, I cannot read, I didn't go to school, forget those things. In the days of revival, there is an advantage hidden in man. And let me tell you, when the revival begins, you cannot shut down the operations of God in the lives of men. I always say, if God put a gift upon you, an ability upon you, no matter how men try to shut it down, they can't. Shutting it down is killing you. And that's why I always appeal unto men. I have counseled some married people. The problem of the man was that the woman always go about preaching the gospel. To him, he said, can't she be a normal housewife? I said, didn't you know that there is a calling upon her before you marry her? Imagine you marry a woman that you know that she was a preacher from the beginning. Don't you know that she will continue what she is doing? Now you want to circumcise her and automatically castrate her and make her a housewife. In the days of war, people were still doing their house chores and they were still warriors. The Bible called Deborah a wife of Lapidoth. And yet again, she was also a warrior. She was a pattern for the women. And if you say you don't like Deborah, I present to you Esther. That Esther was also a wife to the king, but she didn't let the comfort of the palace destroy her altar. Because in the days when it became of war, she switched her regalia. She gathered the people, summon them. Let everybody fast and pray. If I perish, I perish. At that moment, I knew that she was not just a fine girl. Because she didn't talk about that, gather, let's do beauty parade. I know this king like women, but eventually he will see one of the beauty lady again in the Jews. Let's parade more beautiful ladies to the king. They know it's a waste of time. But they knew that the matters can be controlled from the realm of the spirit. Say, this matter is by the decree of the watchers, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High holdeth over the affairs of men, and he giveth it to whosoever he pleased. In the days of revival, men control the matters in the realm of the spirit. It still wonder and amaze me how some of our fathers rose in obscurity. Read about the stories of our fathers. It's not far from us in Nigeria. People like Adeboye, people like Adeboye, people like Daddy Olukoya, people like Bishop David Oyedepo. All their story was a story of revival. How they went to a bush, they turned the bush to become a city. How they went to a region where everybody is downcasted, and like David, they brought out men that were weak to become mighty men. These things are possible. It's possible with a few that believe it. And if you don't believe it, the problem is that you will see it, but you won't partake of it. Because lack of faith, lack of believing take you out of it. And those that can see will partake of it, because it shall come to pass. As the Lord has spoken, he will not lie. And we, his servant, will rise. We are telling you to be part of the Commonwealth of Israel, because there is an advantage coming. And it's going to come upon the few that believe and choose to war together with the Lord. I will never forget the story of what Daddy Adeboye said. He said many years ago they gathered themselves and they went to Tulsa, Oklahoma to go and see Bishop, to go and see Daddy Kenneth Hagin. As they went to see Daddy Kenneth Hagin, after the conference, when he gave them the privilege to see him, all the other people went with him. When they went, he asked them, what do you want? The first person said, Daddy, I want you to give me permission to share your magazine in Nigeria. They asked the other person, what do you want? He said, Daddy, I want you to give me permission to share your cassette, the cassette you are recording in Nigeria. They asked the other person, what do you want? Daddy, I want you to give me permission to share your books in Nigeria. They now asked Adeboye, what do you want? Do you realize that everybody was asking for what will benefit them? In the days when God asks you a question, when you are given the privilege to ask a question that matters to your destiny, connect it back to your destiny. When the Lord appeared to Solomon and he asked him, what do you want? Solomon asked, he just asked for the wisdom to lead the people. He could have asked for 5 Lamborghini. He could have asked for 35 Rolls Royce. They will give him. But when we measure Lamborghini and Rolls Royce to the matters of ordination, they are weak. Because in your ordination, you cannot define everything is part of it. That private jet is part of it. You are the one that said Bishop David did about private jet. He doesn't care about the private jet. You are the one that is saying he has. You are the one that say he has $10 billion. He doesn't even know that. Why? Because in the matters of his ordination, he just knows he's working upon it. Because the calling is too heavy. And because of the burden of the calling, you just keep living in it and you are walking in it, and everything gravitates towards the direction. And when they look upon, when Daddy Adeboye look upon Kenneth Hagin, he said, well, I want all that is in you that makes you you. For the first time, Kenneth Hagin said, what do you say again? Because nobody has ever asked this kind of question. You see, repeat it, say again. I want all that is in you that makes you you. Kenneth Hagin knew that he was in trouble. Because the problem is, how do you give all that is in you that make you you? It's not what you can define, because that was the same question that Elisha asked Elijah. And Elijah did not have a response for it. He said, but if you can see me go, if you can be fulfilled, if you can be faithful following, and if you can be able to behold that in the days of revival people don't fall out, many backslided, few followed. And he called his secretary in and he said, well, this one want books, take him to where they are giving books, give him books. This one want tape, take him to where they are giving tapes, give him tape. This one want magazine, take him to where they are giving magazine. He said, secretary, when you are going, close the door. Say, you want all that is in me that make me. Say, kneel down. And when Daddy Kenneth Hagin, when Daddy Adeboye knelt down, Daddy Kenneth Hagin lay hands of him and began to pray and prophesy. He began to release upon him the grace that made him who he is. He said he cannot remember anything. He knows this as though everything was blank. And By the time he woke up after some time, he discovered he was flat on the ground. And as he was flat on the ground, he was heavily shaking. And he saw Kenneth Hagin weeping and crying. And I realized that every father is looking for a son that can have the same capacity to be able to bear. And one of the greatest cry of Jesus, cry of the Lord, is to find that lady, find that man that is willing to bear, and he can look upon and say, this is my only begotten son, upon whom I am well pleased. There were many sons, but there are few that he is pleased with them. For the first time that the Kenneth Hagin saw someone that is willing to continue in the same light, and it was evident when they returned back to Nigeria, it was evident that he got something. Not long ago, they went back again together with his father in the Lord. The man that started Redeemed Church, they went back again. They were still there to pray. That was the same time they were about to transfer Redeemed Church to him as to be the overseer. The man was there, and suddenly he felt his time was already there. And as they were praying in Oklahoma, and they were in a hotel, and Baba said, Kai, the Lord said I must transfer everything I have to somebody here. The man may not be able to speak English, but there is an ordination that has nothing to do with language. You see, this thing is not grammar. Study your English very well, but in the days of power, it's not the grammar in it. So these were unlearned men. They were ordinary men. Common men. If you look yourself as common, all the apostles were common. But something was transferred. And while they gathered together and began to lay hands on that ear, Adeboye, it was recorded literally that the entire hotel began to shake. It was shaking until it cracked to the down, and they were on the top floor. That was that moment that they transfer everything. No wonder this man caught a spirit, caught a grace that today, an old man like that, still on flame, still on fire. Sometimes you see him on youth meeting, he was still. I saw a meeting that Dunsi brought him. He was there. Those men work as hard as some of you will even do, in fact more than some of you, and yet again their body doesn't seem to be tired. It was all you. My back is paining me, my leg is paining me. They're calling upon you. He's about to die. The days of revival, men are given what is referred to as the spirit of might, the ability to be able to bear. Sometimes when I see men like Adeboye advancing from different quarters, going for crusade, I wonder, where do they gain this strength from? You watch people like Apostle Joshua Solomon, as he's living here, he's coming here, from here, he's coming, and you ask yourself, is it the same body we are having? In the days of revival, there is a spirit that rests upon men. Isaiah chapter 11, right? Isaiah chapter 11 from 2. The Bible says, and the spirit of the Lord shall rest upon him, the spirit of wisdom and understanding, the spirit of counsel and might, the spirit of knowledge and of the fear of the Lord. In the days God wants to revive men, this is what he does. On the last day I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh. Your sons and daughters shall prophesy. Your old men, your young men, they will dream dreams, they will see vision. This is the spirit that pioneered this thing. You don't just prophesy because the spirit of prophecy come. It's because there is a combination of many things. And that is the reason why you may not even be looking for the spirit of prophecy. If you begin to work with God continually, consistently, studying and understanding come, your eyes open by default. I don't know about you, but you can just sit down with the scriptures as you are studying and you begin to see visions. Why? And you know that spirit called the spirit of understanding. So there are 7 spirits of the Lord here. The Bible speaks about the spirit of wisdom, that of understanding, that of counsel, that of might, that of knowledge, and that of the fear of the Lord. When these come upon you by default, you have the minister manner for survival. A minister deprived of this spirit is not worthy to be a minister. It's not possible. I'm telling you. You may be joking all around. Global influence, global relevance, impact beyond measure come when the 7th spirit of the Lord comes. And when you speak about this scripture, is Isaiah speaking about himself or speaking about another? I tell you, he was speaking about another. He was speaking about the prophet, like unto me that the Most High will raise. That in the days of that rising of that prophet, whosoever that refused to believe upon him is cut off. That was Moses speaking. He was speaking about who? He was speaking about the Messiah. That a man came in a pattern and revealed to us these possibilities. In the days of revival, it's a battle of spirit, and only those that can contain this spirit are fit for it. When you go to the book of Philippians, from 4, from 9, Paul began to speak about the things he go through because of the reason for this revival. How that the revival will demand that you go through certain level of pain, certain level of challenge. Sometimes you come to a point where it will look so hard on you. In fact, a time came, Paul began to speak about how he was put in prison, how he was chained, how he was beaten, and yet again he did not refuse to preach. There was a time they were demanded to stop talking in the name of the Lord, but because of the spirit of revival, they were willing to die. In fact, a prophet came and gave him a preservative plan as a prophetic word. Young man, travel not, as you go you will die. He said, forget about that, you're dead. I am not only willing to, he said, as you go you'll be in chain. He said, forget about your chain, I'm willing to go and die. That man talking now is no longer a normal person. He said, in the days of revival, men are willing to become martyred. In that day when they say, if they will come and kill all of us, we will still stand and preach. If it is not convenient, will you serve God? If your answer is no, you are not part of the army yet. If it is not convenient, because let me tell you, what we call martyrdom is the condition of death. And everybody that is willing to herald the move of God in his territory, you must be willing to take the chance of even being wrong. Everybody will fight you. The government will fight you. The spirit of revival is one which is willing to go through pain and suffer for Jesus. And in the days of revival, God built us holistically, not only in prayer but in character. Every aspect of our life is worked upon by the Lord, because in the days of revival, God will challenge our genuine love for him. One of the reasons why we are going to be willing to die for him is because we love him unconditionally. In those days, everybody, it becomes like the move of the holiness. If you remember the days, one of the latest moves that actually happened, that the deeper life pioneer, was the holiness movement. How many of you remember that time? When deeper life was really deeper life, when it was very hot, it is what was referred to as the holiness movement. In fact, as of that time, it was so hot that it looks as though Jesus is coming the next year, and everybody was preparing to meet the bride. And the way we were so serious, everything was a sin. In fact, including going to school. People tore their certificate and say, see, this is a waste of time. In fact, that time, daddy came and said watching TV was that this one was the devil box. Daddy Kumo, said the devil box. Why? Because of all kinds of carnality that they were showing on TV that time. And he knew that that thing can distract people from going to heaven. So to him, from the revelation he had, men should abstain from the devil box. But today, you don't need a TV. All you need is a phone. And with your phone, free, you sign into Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. You are already, your phone is also the devil box. People pack their TV and throw away. In these days, you must be willing to stay away from your phone for 1 week. Or say no Facebook, no TikTok, no Instagram, because that has been the reason why your hunger for God has gone down. Many of you, you are praying to God, Father, give me phone. Phone came. That phone became your Kadesh Barnea. It became the system and the seat at the headquarters for hookups. How you communicate different channels to men. A lady became so carnal, she snapped herself naked and sent to men, and they give her money. If she doesn't have a phone, wouldn't she bless God for that days of poverty? So breakthrough became a disadvantage. The devil can use anything to make caricature of you. Anything, including your gift and talent. So you must be wise enough. Of course, Daddy brought a balance to it. If there's any church that uses more TV now, it's Deeper Life Church. Anywhere they are, there is satellite that connects everywhere. It's not about the TV. It's about what you watch in the TV. It's not about the phone. It's about what you watch in the phone. In the days of revival, holiness become our anchor. We are not worthy to even stand before the Lord. Talk more to be able to speak as though that are perfect. But let me tell you, we guard ourselves jealously so that peradventure the devil will not have a strong God in us. Are you serious about your life and you're walking with God, or you are just casual about it? Martyrs have no time for the things of the flesh. In fact, they don't even have time for all this gallivanting. In the days of revival, nobody go to beach for party. Nobody go to beach for vacation. In that day, spiritual vacation is dangerous. I heard Bishop David Adeboye said it one time and I laughed. So imagine me as a minister going on to beach. Imagine Bishop David Adeboye in Lagos beach running with bikini. I mean, what they call that? Pursuing his wife. You see, all these things that young ministers do to create attention. Now, everybody is a content creator, because the things that get more likes now are stupidity. So everybody is under the pressure to balance between which one is spiritual, which one is not spiritual, which one will give more likes and more followers. Strange people hack one of our Facebook page, and within 3 weeks they grew to about 100,000 followers. Something that we are struggling with it in 40, 50, 30, 20. Why? They began to post pornographic. I know many of you are part of their viewers. You are watching it because it was easy. Everybody was sharing it. And go naked now and just video yourself. You don't need to share it. They will help you share it. Iniquity has abound, so the love of many has waxed cold. So when you wake up after 10 years, you now see there is no God on our street. You wonder, where did it go? The devil came and steal it. The thief cometh not but to steal, kill, and destroy. But I have come that ye may have life and have it more abundantly. What happened to your passion for God? What happened to that zeal? It was you that nobody could shut down the hunger and the passion. But right now, it's all a lie. In the days of revival, men genuinely love God and they are willing to do everything for Him.